West Philadelphia, born and raised, and a playground was where I spent most of my days. Good morning and welcome to Whenever You Are. I am Bandit Haze, and today I'm going to be talking about Suicide Squad, or as I like to call it, Viola Davis and the 7 arseholes she manipulated the hell out of. Now here's the thing, I know Suicide Squad hasn't been getting a whole lot of great reviews lately. In fact, according to the Rotten Tomatoes Metacritic score, there's at least a few critics who might have wanted to commit suicide after watching this movie. Now, as of yet, I haven't read any of the reviews or watched any videos. I do intend on doing that, but first, I want to get down some of my own thoughts on this movie. So I went in thinking that this is going to be a pretty okay film. I don't think it was going to be amazingly brilliant. I don't think it was going to be like the best thing ever, but I thought it'd be an okay film, a decent enough film. And what I got was actually better than I thought it would be. Overall, the film was pretty darn good. Now, it wasn't brilliant and amazing. Certainly, it's not a perfect film by a long shot, but it's a pretty damn good movie. I liked the overall plot of it, even though it did seem somewhat obvious and a little bit cliched at times. It works quite well for the type of film that we're making. It didn't have like a lot of humor in it, but it did have, a decent amount, and most of the times they went for jokes. I felt that the jokes landed quite well. I thought they hit, but it weren't like super funny jokes. I mean, for the most part, I think it's gonna make you go LOL, but it won't make you laugh out loud. That said, there are certainly times where the humor just did not land at all, and it just felt more awkward and unnecessary. Especially, there's a scene towards the end. I'm not going to ruin anything, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but there's a scene towards the end where they tried to go for a humorous outcome, and it just did not work at all. It looked so awkward. It stood out so much more than the other awkward jokes from the movie. It was just, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Here's the thing, Will Smith is a big star, easily the biggest star in this movie, and that's not to throw shade at anybody, that's just facts. He is by far the biggest star in this movie. Now, because of that, Smith does feature quite prominently in this film. It's kind of like the episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will joins Carlton's basketball team, and he's so much better than everybody else that the coach, his whole game plan is pass it to Will. If you've got the ball and someone from the opposite team is coming towards you, what do? Pass it to Will. You catch the ball after a free throw, what do? Pass it to Will. You're right by the net with a clear shot, what do? Pass it to Will. And it really felt like that throughout the movie at times, where it's like, we got this great scene where we really want to show how deep the conspiracy goes. What do? Give it to Will. We want someone to be seen as a natural leader without being an actual leader. What do? Give it to Will. Now that said, I can't really fault Will Smith for much. He did a great job, absolutely. It's just a shame that the other characters didn't get as much of a chance to shine through. Now that being said, everybody got a chance to shine through. Not everybody did shine through, but they got a chance to shine through. Jared Leto as the Joker. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Get 'em, girl. And Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Woo! Woman is savage. I don't think I've seen anything that Viola Davis has done before in her TV shows or movies or anything. I've heard of her before, and I've heard people say she's a great actress, but oh man. But anyway, the main thing I didn't like about the film was the Enchantress. I felt like she was a good enough character in the film. It just felt awkward most of the time, and I don't know whether that's because of the way she was acted out or the way she was written or some kind of combination between the two, but most of the time it just felt awkward on screen. Like, a few times it came across okay, but a lot of the time it was just awkward, and especially when you compare that to her brother. Her brother's like badass throughout, just from the moment he comes in the movie, badass, and then you look at Enchantress and she's just awkward. I mean, watching the Enchantress on screen was kind of like going to the shop to buy the Twilight DVD box set, and the cashier's asking you, is this for your girlfriend? And you're like, no. So those were my thoughts on the movie, but I am curious as to why it got such a low aggregated score on RottenTomatoes.com. Now, I can understand why it wouldn't get a brilliant score. As I said, it's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. It definitely does have its faults, but 30% or 26% as it is now, that does seem very, very, very low. So I'm curious about this. Now, of course, everyone is entitled to their opinion, and critics tend to be a little bit more harsher on films than us regular folk. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because they tried making movies, they sucked at making movies, and now they're jealous of the people who do make movies. Just saying, I don't know. Alright, so on the Suicide Squad page on RottenTomatoes.com, as you can see, the aggregated critic score is currently 26%, whilst the aggregated user score is 74%. Now, here's the thing. I don't like to give scores when I do reviews for movies, games, or anything, because I do feel giving scores is pointless. That being said, 74% does seem a little bit more reasonable to me. But anyway, according to RottenTomatoes.com, the general critic consensus is Suicide Squad boasts a talented cast and little more humor than previous DCEU efforts, but they aren't enough to save the disappointing end result from a muddled plot, thinly written characters, and choppy directing. A talented cast? Absolutely, definitely agree with that. A little more humor than previous DCEU efforts? Yes, but to be fair, not exactly a hard achievement. I mean, there's documentaries on paint drying that have more humor than a DCEU movie, so yeah, not exactly something to write home about. Disappointing end result? To be fair, the ending wasn't the greatest. It could have been better, and there was one thing in particular that when it happened, I was like, okay, that should have been done by another character, but it really was just that one thing. Everything else about the ending was certainly adequate. It wasn't brilliant, but it was certainly adequate and definitely did not ruin the movie. And the plot wasn't muddled. I mean, if anything, the plot was over simple. Thinly written characters though? Nah, I mean, even Enchantress, as awkward as she was, you understood her motivations. Now, they didn't all get like, you know, super in-depth, deep backstories, but you certainly got enough to understand who they are and why they're there. So yeah, that's definitely something 100%, 10 out of 10, disagree with. And choppy directing, I'm not a film critic. I actually don't know what they mean by choppy directing. Now, what it sounds like it means, like, you know, the film's just all over the place, doing what they were doing. If that's what they mean by that, nah, definitely not. Definitely not. It knew what it was doing and it did what it was doing. It didn't necessarily do it in the best way possible, but it knew what it was doing and it did what it was doing. There were certainly parts of films where it maybe spent too long on certain things and not enough time on other things, etc, etc, etc. But in the end, it knew what it was doing and it did what it was doing, and it did it pretty well. Not the greatest, but it did it pretty well, so nah. Unless it means something completely different, then yeah, it might be. I don't know. If you know what that means, let me know. And that is what I think of Suicide Squad. What do you think? Harry Carey or Harry Krishna? Let me know down below. And if you liked this video, give it a like and share it amongst your friends. If you did not like it, then give it a dislike and share it amongst your enemies. Either way, let me know your reasons in the comments. Subscribe if you have not already. Thank you for watching. And until whenever, if ever, not me, shorty, I'm beautiful. Dixon's in Kilburn, and yeah, we got it. Went home. I just played Street Fighter 2 all day. Street Fighter 2 all day, man. It was incredible.